have Brady Sickles 2005 automatic truck here on the dyno. He had some work done to it recently and he wanted to see what kind of power we could make. Has 275% injectors, dual CP3s, I believe it's a 10 mil and a 12 mil, and then a 472 8710 on the manifold with an on-3 performance 107 millimeter on the atmosphere. Obviously it has all the supporting mods in the engine, 9/16 head studs, girdle, I think he has Gorilla rods, but he basically wanted a tune around 1100 that he could street drive it more on. I think we ended up at 1065 horsepower, and then a max effort tune we were able to make 1392 horsepower and 1725 foot-pounds of torque. So he was shooting for that 1400 horsepower mark and we got him really close, but he's happy with it, and so I will get him off the dyno and send him on his way. I'm gonna guess he's gonna be number 9 by the end of the year. Did you get that on camera? Okay, remember that.
All right, we're starting on another 4th gen 850 cage. So we did Dallas Penn's truck here last year, and I have this fancy gadget called Bentech, and it turns out that if you don't save your files or you lose them, you get to start all over with your files. So that's what I'm doing, working on getting all of the bends to fit just right along the pillar here. So once I get these front down bars or whatever windshield bars done, then that's going to be the biggest hurdle. And I've got this side fit in, so once one side is done, the second one is usually a lot easier because you can just reverse your angles or your rotations. Really, the angles stay the same, but your rotations change. So getting ready to bend up the driver's side, and then we should be kind of home free on the design side of things. So really it's just a street truck that he's wanting to put a nice cage in. He's got a big single turbo and I believe some nitrous, so looking to keep it fairly street.
Okay, today we've got Josh McCormack all the way from Utah, and this has been something that you came in for what, to go to D&J and pick up an engine?
I did. I got my Enforcer Series engine from Drew over there, and figured I'd swing by on the way home.
Good. So he's been he's out in elevation, and there's always a talk about out west, because the air is so much thinner, the dynos have a lot bigger correction factor, and how much of a difference is there from dynoing out west on a turbo vehicle where it kind of makes its own atmosphere versus in the East Coast where we're like 800 feet before above sea level. Yes, so he's dynoed his, I mean, you put a lot of passes on this truck on your dyno.
Yep.
And I believe you did, what, 12?
The best number is 1231, but we have quite a few passes right in that low 1200 to 1211 range.
So this is just a fun experiment to compare out west dyno with correction factor to a Ohio dyno, and like currently I think today we're at a 0.999 correction factor, which is like minus a point.
Rough.
Just a little bit because the air is so good. So we're going to put it through its paces. Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's done to the truck, and
yes,
we'll go from there.
So it's a 07 truck. It does have a set of Wagler rods in it. Fresh rings, fresh bearings. After we had a head gasket failure, I just went in there. It's fire ring. It has a 467.7 with an 83 turbine with a 488/96 turbine. A set of DDP 100% over injectors, a DDP 12 mil ATS dual pump kit with just the pump they provide, an extra G 2200 relief valve, and a built trans, and she's ready to go.
What's the exhaust housing on that 67? Is that a 9.0 or?
It's a 9.0, yeah.
T4?
Yep.
Okay.
When you live up high in the mountains, you gotta have the spool, you know?
Well, good. I'm excited. We're gonna just make sure we get this thing dynoed accurately, and we can compare the numbers East Coast versus West Coast, and you can hit the road and start your, what, 20-some hour trip back home?
27 hours.
That's pretty far.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we did 1,319 horsepower, which is, and 0.5.
Can't forget that half horsepower.
And which is pretty impressive. That was maxing out. We were data logging it, and it maxed out a 12 mil pump and the stock pump on top of it. FCA current was all the way wide open, so it is using a lot of fuel. But the setup is very responsive, spools very fast. It made right around 1,700 foot-pounds of torque, and that's what, 88 horsepower, more than what you did on the mountain.
Yep, about 80. Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I like I always said, I think the air density is not always corrected for. Like I think even with the correction factors, like the air being down here, like even me, like I can run down here for a long time.
Right.
You know, you go up there from here, like the human body has a hard time. I can only imagine, like, you know.
I think I need to live underground so I can run for a long time without getting winded.
There you go.
Maybe that's because I'm fat.
You got less drag though. I mean.
Yeah, but no, it makes a big difference because I've been to Colorado. I've done some work projects and stuff out there, and if you go do any kind of manual labor at 5,000 feet, you get winded quickly, and the truck's going to feel the same thing because when you're sucking air in and the air is a lot thinner, it does make a difference. And like I said, today we're actually running a little bit of a negative correction factor, and it still made 88 horsepower more. And you have a Mustang dyno out there?
Yeah, we have the big, I think they're 6,000 pound rollers.
Okay.
So it's big.
Yeah, and that makes it's very drastically different to dynos, but it's also a good example to know that we use the dyno as a tool to get our trucks dialed in. We use it from before versus after, and we can get accurate comparisons. But when you're going East Coast to West Coast on the mountain, when the air is thinner, it does make a difference in your horsepower. So we're going to get this thing off and send you
2,000 miles home.
Yes, sir.